From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your afternoon update.
You want to go where to buy a new refrigerator? Steve's A to Z Appliance in Cottonwood? In Cottonwood? Just a 10-minute drive. And they'll save us money. New and used, honest, reliable, factory-trained repair service and parts, and they'll save us money. And dispose of this thing? We gotta make the short drive to Steve's A to Z. Thanks, son.
Steve's A to Z Appliance, front and main streets in Cottonwood. Drive a little, save a lot.
Well, the clouds have started to move in for many parts of Northern California. There you can see looking out at Crescent City, you kind of got those overcast gray skies, but overall not a lot of rain. I can't even see much in the way of rain falling from these clouds here, but there is eventually going to be a chance for some showers here, especially for the north coast here later this evening and into tonight, and even into the early to mid-afternoon hours as well. Taking a look at Elk Country, just north of Trinidad, seeing some clouds out there, but even some blue skies still this around the noon hour here. And as we take a look at the valley, we're also seeing some increased cloud cover, but mainly just in the form of some high clouds as we take you into the midday here. But I think those clouds will thicken up through the afternoon. Rain in the valley, not looking all that promising. If you see anything, it'll be a passing sprinkle later on this evening and possibly tonight. But coastal mountain showers this afternoon and evening, and could be looking at most of those mountain showers for, say, central Siskiyou County westward. Anything east of that will most likely remain dry. So Modoc County, eastern mountains, most likely dry conditions out there, not to mention mainly the valley as well. Now, after today, there's going to be a slight warming trend. And I think some of us in the valley could be flirting with that 70-degree mark, making for a gorgeous weekend in store for us for Saturday and Sunday. Now, this is something I've been kind of talking about, but not highlighting a whole lot. And that is a cooler and wetter pattern moving in next week. However, this is where you've got to be careful and take some of these long-range forecasts with a grain of salt. I've noticed over the last 24 to 36 hours, there's been a bit of an explosion of some media putting out there that we're going to be looking at one of the most significant series of storms heading through next week. We're going to be looking at a lot of rain, a lot of snow in the mountains. Now, that all being said, I don't think that that's 100% wrong. However, now I'm beginning to see this big discrepancy in the long-range forecast models indicating it actually may be drier than we thought over the last few days. And this is why when we have to look out that far, I just don't like to put a whole lot of attention to it, because when you don't really know 100% for sure, it's just not a good idea and, quite honestly, responsible to start telling people that we could be looking at a series of heavy rainfall storms heading our way next week. So we're going to get into that here in a second. What I want to show you here is what we've got here today. You notice the clouds moving in, and we do have some thicker clouds coming behind that. This right here is where that batch of maybe some showers could be coming in here later this afternoon, and not to mention this evening. Colder air moving in. However, we're going to start to see high pressure, a weak one, build in after today, and that's when temperatures may start to increase a little bit. So let's take a look at this afternoon and evening. Here's today at about 6 p.m. So you see the bulk of any activity will be to the west here, central Siskiyou County. But, maybe a stray sprinkle, maybe, just maybe a stray sprinkle or light shower in the valley. And Modoc County most likely dry, eastern mountains most likely dry as well. Overnight, here's midnight tonight. Yeah, most of it's off to the west, dry elsewhere, and it dries out entirely as we take you into Friday afternoon. Still some high clouds out there, but mainly sunny skies. And how about your Saturday, looking like a gorgeous day on Saturday, and not to mention Sunday. All right, so let's talk about that pattern for next week. Here's Monday, the rain holding off. Now here's Tuesday of next week. Now notice we've got a big area of low pressure right here. You've got the rain that's associated with it right here. If you were watching even this morning, in the last few days, this rain was over us. Now this model wants to take this rain and keep it to our south and west and keep this low pressure system just sitting and spinning over the Pacific Ocean. You see, as we go to Wednesday and Thursday, you see how it just kind of sits and spins there. I mean, not even Southern California is getting much of this either. Now, on the flip side, if we were to look at the European forecast model and put it on this map here, it would all be wet. All of California would be wet, starting as early as Monday evening, all the way through the end of next week. So this is where we start talking about uncertainties within the forecast, because one is completely opposite of the other. And this is where we start losing our confidence when we're talking about what's going to happen as we go through next week. Hopefully, as we go into the next few days, get into Friday, maybe in this weekend, we'll get a better handle on what's happening with all of that. Your wave heights for today, not that bad, although they're getting a little bit worse heading off to the north and west. As it looks like as we go into your Friday, those wave heights will be increasing upwards of about 12 feet. All right, so here's what we have in store for us today. You've got the clouds moving in. Most of any measurable rainfall, which will not be heavy, central Siskiyou County westward, Trinity County westward, all seeing that chance for some showers. Okay, it's not going to be heavy later this afternoon and evening. Mainly dry, maybe a passing sprinkle this evening for the valley. Mainly dry off to Modoc County and in the eastern mountains. Okay, so let's take a look at our 7-day outlook. And what I've done is what I call a broad brush forecast for next week. I've got the chance in there and some clouds. That's it. I have not put any raindrops coming from those clouds because, again, there's a lot of uncertainty as to whether or not that'll even happen. But what we do know is that over the weekend, we've got dry conditions and gorgeous weather, especially for the valley. We're talking about possibly some 60s and maybe even some upper 60s, quite possibly on Sunday as well. So yeah, it's going to be a gorgeous weekend, but temperatures will start to drop and cool off a bit. However, these temperatures may be a little bit cooler because that colder air mass may be a little bit more to our south and west. But you get the idea for your Veterans Day weekend. Looks like you have some pretty good weather in store for you. And taking a look at the coast, now I have included a chance for some rain showers here, better chances here, because even if we have the solution that you saw with most of the rain over the Pacific, the very eastern edge of that may touch the coast and some of the inland areas as well. But again, at this point, even that is not looking all that promising either.